Buenas noches,
Hola,
maestro.
buenas noches, doctor.
Hola a todos. Bien, vamos a comenzar. Les había dejado algo. No era tarea, pero les dejé algo. ¿Quién? ¿Quién dice yo? Nos vamos recio con Catherine desde el principio. Ella siempre tiene opciones.
Ay, hola, profe. A ver, lo he estado pensando, pero es que todos mis temas son un poco complicados. Entonces, es similar al que hablamos la primera vez, pero se trata de cómo afecta la adopción de niños en parejas del mismo sexo, cuando en este momento, excluyendo eso, hay tantos problemas a nivel psicológico de la falta de un padre o la falta de una madre, y eso desencadena muchas situaciones a nivel personal, en desarrollo y demás de una persona. Entonces, suponiendo que sea legal que yo no tenga mamá y solo tenga dos papás, o solo tenga dos mamás y no tenga papás, ¿cómo afectaría eso mi vida? Podría ser uno de los temas.
Es legal en varios países ya. Creo que en la mayoría de Europa y en Estados Unidos. Canadá no estoy seguro. ¿Qué opinan? Hablen, ustedes son los que tienen que hablar. Ya podemos empezar a hablar en inglés si quieren. Nadie, puedo creer que nadie tiene
Profesor,
opinión.
puedo decir unas palabras, pero
Adelante.
no son referentes a este tema, sino es algo que tengo preparado.
Adelante, sí, en lo que los demás se animan. Adelante.
Dice, hello, teacher. Good evening. I am reading this word from Google Translator. I don't know English word. I don't want and saying de... Perdón, me atoro. Pero el chiste es que quería decir que pues, no le entiendo a veces mucho a su clase porque habla mucho en inglés, pero voy a hacer el mayor intento por entenderlo.
Excelente, Alonso, muy bien. Nada más, como les había dicho, si de repente no entiendes algo de lo que diga, interrúmpeme, pregúntame y lo puedo traducir para que vayan entendiendo más. Obviamente, mi intención es que se acostumbren a escuchar el inglés, pero pues también, si no están entendiendo, díganme. Eso es lo que más me importa, que les vaya quedando claro.
Gracias.
Bien. Catherine, yes.
Otra opción que se me acaba de ocurrir es que ahorita está muy de moda, o bueno, va a salir aquí en México la película de este, es que se me, Sonido Libertad o algo así, de que es como de un policía en Estados Unidos que es sobre trata de niños y cómo él se mete a una selva colombiana para salvar a una niña, y es una historia de la vida real. Entonces, una de los temas que podríamos hablar es cuál sería el castigo justo que ustedes considerarían para una persona pedófila o para una red de pedofilia, si consideran la pena de muerte o un estilo de cárcel tipo Nayib Bukele, o qué consideran justo ante este delito.
Es la película de Mel Gibson, ¿verdad? La que va a salir.
Sí, aunque hay un mexicano que se llama Eduardo
Ujú.
Verastegui, algo así, y creo que él es el productor de la película.
Sí, de hecho, creo que ya no tarda en salir. Es más interesante y creo que también podríamos hablar de el castigo en general. Hay muchos y acá se ha hablado. Hola, Alexa. Hola, Freddy. Se ha hablado mucho bueno, hemos tocado el tema de la pena de muerte y cómo algunos la apoyan para ciertos delitos. Ah, pero yo siento que la pena de muerte para delitos como pedofilia, violaciones y eso no es justicia, porque no es equitativo. Pero, a ver, yo ya hablé mucho. Les toca a ustedes y en inglés, para que vean. Catherine, empieza tú con este tema. Que se animen. Ah, y luego Máximo.
Okay. Well, I think, well, my personal opinion is, of course, I'm not a favor in death penalty, because for me, that's not justice. It's just end his life, and he will not suffer or will be eh, even a small regret about his doing. So I'm more on sides of what Najib Bukele is doing in his country about these strict jails. They has no ¿cómo se dice colchón? Mattress. Yeah. Well, they sleep in the bunker. They only eat tortillas and frijoles twice per day. They don't have visitors. They only go out of the cell 1 hour per day. They don't have any privilege whatsoever, and that's a real torment. That's a real punishment because you have a doctor for you don't die, but you live very under very basic situation with no privilege whatsoever, under fear and punishment and a lot of things that is not the right way to live. So I think that's a really good punishment for people who hurt children that way, because that's, for me, this is like the worst. I mean, there's a lot of things, bad things, but that's like the worst thing the human had made in history, hurting the children that way. And I really hoping to see that movie. I probably cry the whole movie and a lot of hours after, but is something that is real, that we should be conscious is happening every second in every country. It's not a something that is behind us or very far away. No, it's happening in every country, and it's a very dangerous situation. And everything we can see or try to help, we should do it. And I think we should encourage our governments to change the laws and be more strict with these organizations.
I agree with everything. Sorry, I have nothing to add there. Very good, thank you. Maximo?
Well, I don't have the enough vocabulary for express myself because it's something complicated. And I don't know the correct words to complete a good sentence. But I think mm, that people need a treatment, psychological treatment. I think that is the good way, but I think it's not correct for that people. Uh, there are in the streets. There are in institute or hospital. I think that is the good way. Well, in personal, I can describe with my my original words in Spanish. I think that
Very good, excellent. You say that you don't have enough vocabulary, but I think, and I think that your classmates think that too, that you express your idea correctly, so I think it's more than enough. Very good. Freddy, creo que está. Freddy, adelante.
Hi, teacher. Bueno, profe, qué pena y disculpe. Creo que esta es mi segunda clase con ustedes. No había tenido pues la oportunidad de hablar ni interactuar. Creo que mi inglés todavía necesita mucho pulirse y todavía no me integro así como fullmente porque pues estoy muy atrás todavía. De todas maneras, pues aquí estoy para pues, no sé si de pronto me pueda recomendar algo porque pues estoy haciendo las clases de Duolingo, trato de todos los días meterme, dedicarle 1 hora, 2 horas diario en los trabajos, los exámenes, todo lo que ponen ahí, pero no sé qué pues me pudiese recomendar.
Es lo mismo que les he comentado. Yo creo que lo mejor que puedes hacer ahorita es habla. Aunque empieces, aunque sea básico, pero habla. Eso te va a ayudar mucho. Y Duolingo al mismo tiempo te va a facilitar las cosas. Rodéate de películas, series, todo lo que puedas en inglés, música. Eso te va a ayudar también. Es un método que he comprobado y funciona. Entonces, de todas formas, cualquier duda que tengas, pregúntame de alguna palabra, de alguna forma de decir algo. Siempre estoy dispuesto a echarles la mano con eso, ¿va? Muy bien. De todas formas, quiero escucharlos hablar en inglés. No importa que estén empezando, ¿va? Herbert, adelante.
Good good night, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity. This is my first class after to join the UK university, and thank you for the opportunity for express. The topic that you say, Catherine, is very interesting because the pedophilia is a antisocial behavior that the people have in different country and different expressions that is that situation that they need close in the countries because this affect the children's the penalization sorry, I don't remember how do you say penalización in English, correct the correct pronunciation. You can help me, teacher?
Penalty. Penalty.
Penalty. Thank you. Thank you. The penalty for these people is in a specific correct the jail and the cut all expression and the social connect with the people. Did you say if you remember in the video games, let me say example, Roblox is a principal focus what the for this type of person, right? And the other type of the social networks. Then is the principal object with these people is cut the relationship with the social network. This is my humble opinion reference for this topic, and thank you for the opportunity.
Very good. Excellent. José, adelante.
Hello, hello teacher and college. Referente al tema, al Sound of Freedom, es el nuevo film that deals the history of Timothy Ballard, que es el director, and former CIA agent, que es un agente de la CIA. Is his job within the United States government at the Department of Homeland Security to save children from cartels and human trafficked or traffickers. The film and analysis sheets the traffic in Latin American countries, especially Mexico. Este, es, es, es un film complicado. Es un, ¿cómo sería? Es un filme complicado en el sentido de que el contenido que está dando a conocer son temas muy sensibles porque hay muchas personas involucradas. Sería The Humans. ¿Cómo sería, teacher?
Lo escribí en el chat. It's a complicated film in terms of the sensitive content it delivers. Así yo lo pondría.
Okay. It's complicated film in items on the sensitive content it delivers. Eh, básicamente.
Muy bien, excelente. Nicole?
Hi, teacher. In my opinion about this topic, this type of crime should be paid with a maximum penalty. There are times where justice is not usually very fair with this, and many people believe that the punishment are not enough for aggressors. Even now with the claim to the social media, usually move a lot these controversial issues, and opinions are very varied. Some more aggressive than others, but that's okay.
Very good. Yes, and I think that all or your opinions, or most of it, um, are in the side of that these criminals should be severely punished. There, the thing that pedophilia should be punished with death, I'm partial to that idea because, yeah, some of you mentioned that these people should be in a mental hospital receiving treatment, and I agree with that. But what about the victim? Uh, I think that I'm going to ask you a question. Do you think that death penalty for a child abuser is going to make the victim feel better or to heal quicker? Alma, yes.
Hi. I think is very very difficult. This very hard this topic because in the case Mexico um, is very hard uh, um, speak about the justice because is a big problem that our country applying justice is very bad in this case, and sometimes innocent people are punished. Uh, I think is for this is very delicate speak about uh, this topic because I agree with. Um, I don't remember the first compañera Melanie. I don't remember the name. Uh, then
Catherine.
I think yes. Thank you. With Catherine because the affectation. I don't know. The children is very bad because are people innocent.
Very good. Thank you. Daniel?
Right, hello everybody. In my opinion, because I'm studying laws, because I become a lawyer in a few years. As the Mexican penalty right, it means that for a long time, the victim perspective hasn't even taken about because only for the status for the statement of laws. Um, the state has the right and the power to punish bad behavior, and the main offense is committed against the state. So the state is the main punisher about the penalties, and even the victim are never taken in opinion or what concerns about the victim because it should be interpreted around the society, the full society, uh, to be offended or to be affected by the act of by the criminal act. So about pedophiles, it was only a few years ago that some of the penalties were increased as at the nowadays we can see, but even in past years, all penalties were so light in comparison against another countries, but were based on Roman right, and it said that not were not were were not um, very felony in comparison. All right, thank you. Um, not a big felony as murder or as another kind of I don't know how to say of crimes. In this case, and nowadays we can see different criteria of jurisprudence against that kind of behavior. That's all.
Very good, thank you. That's a very interesting point of view because we're talking about the law, not about personal feelings, and it's going to give you a different approach to this topic. Very good, Maximum.
That penalty is not the best option. I think it's a life sentence. It's another good option with uh, Catholic experiment. I think or with. And I think with the prisoner needs to do contributions to the society, such as community cleanup, construction of buildings, and I don't know something like that. It's another good way, I think. Uh, it's not necessary to do that penalty. I think.
Very good. Just before Jesus talks, let's hit things a little bit. I don't think that some criminals, pedophiles included, should deserve a life sentence. Why? Because we, honest people, have to pay for them. In communist Russia during Cold War era, post World War II era, um, a tribunal decided if you could be rehabilitated in prison. If they decide that not, you should be executed. No big execution in public, just an officer shot you in the head. And that saved a lot of money for contributors. And if you have been in jail 3, 4, 5 times, you are not going to rehabilitate. So why do we have to pay for your crimes? I'm just heating things up, but I think that. Jesus, yes.
Hello, teacher. Thank you, and hello, everyone. I think we need to see a different ways of this topic. Because, for example, I agree with you, teacher, because with the part of the death penalty, because it's more cheaper for the country don't have prisoners in the jail because we pay taxes, and with the taxes uh, they make food for the prisoners, they make the prisons, and if you don't have a lot of prisoners in the jail, obviously you gonna have more money for other things in the state or the country. So I agree with the death penalty if you see from that way. And for example, in this case of uh, with the criminals, they need a several punish. But I think with the victims, when the victims see the sentence of the judge in the case, normally they need to see. I think the victim want to see their raper death. I don't know if you understand that part, because I think with the victim want to see that people that or that person dead. It's normal because he make hurt in that person. But I think the best way to give justice for the victim is with a death penalty. But in the social, for all the people don't have that problem. For us, it's better to see the criminal suffer in the jail, because if you know, in the jails here in Mexico, when you going to the jail, normally the guards say to the other people in the jail, he's a raper, and the other people in the jail going to rape that guy. And I think that's a sweetness justice. But the victim don't see that, and that's the reason the best way for the victim is the death penalty. But for the other people, it's more satisfying seeing the criminal punished in the jail. Uh, it's a little bit hard to understand, but I think I think we need to take we need to see the death penalty from the other way, not just for the victim, or not just for the state proposits.
The thing here, and I agree with your point, the thing is that, yes, probably the victim is going to ask, kill him. She hurt me, and she deserves to be punished, and I want to see him dead. But the problem is that they don't kill or execute guilty people because of that. They do it because you are a danger and you could do it again. So that's a reason why execution, um, this death penalty is applied. But at the same time, I go to my first point. This is not justice. If you committed this crime and I'm killing you, this is not justice because your crime is not equal to your punishment. And yes, obviously, the penalty serves to a lot of state or government purposes. But in the end, um, I don't know. Ask yourself this: in your countries, for example, in Catherine's case, you have two point of views because you have lived in two countries. So ask yourself this: in both countries, or in your country, or do you think that death penalty could be applied? As a Mexican, I can tell you that no, in Mexico is not possible. People are giving sentences for 15 years for stealing, and murderers are serving 20 years. So it's not equal. So imagine that you are in the wrong place at the wrong time, and you are wrongfully charged of murder, and you're going to be executed. Justice in Mexico is, you know, all Mexican students know what I'm talking about. Uh, Alexander, yes. Ya nos esperan a que yo les dé la palabra. Cuando su compañero termine, empiece.
Hello, everyone. Okay, yeah, I think this is quite a rough topic here. I just had this idea. Well, this is something I've thought about. That justice, or the system that we have today as a society, independently on the country and the different laws or local laws that we have in our countries. I think that the system of justice or punishment, things like that, it's pretty much the same, and it's like a it's a system for punishment, basically, right? But I haven't seen it yet, like not even at a sociological level or political level, the possibility of applying like a more a system that would be more focused on prevention, right? Like prevention of crimes, because after all, if you have, you have that death penalty in your country, like in some countries in Europe or the United States, if you have death penalty, well, yeah, you're going to apply that, and people are going to be happy with that. In generally speaking, right? But um, after all, you're going. How many people can you kill, right? How many murderers or rapists can you kill? And they keep coming, don't they? And so, why is that? I'm wondering. I don't think I can answer that question, but why is that, and why aren't we approaching it that? I think it's a root problem. It's something that comes more from, yeah, it's something very very deep. I don't think it's like, oh, because we're not killing enough criminals, we're not catching enough criminals. Eventually, this that becomes like a hunt. This hunt for criminals, it, believe me, it backfires. It always backfires in every society. When there's like there is a point in which people, like, they get overwhelmed, and they say we can't stand this anymore, and they, let's say, the Russian Empire, that's prior World War, Great World War. Let's see, um, the Tsar, the kings in Russia, the age of the kings in Russia. People got tired of that, and there was a revolution. There, they put a new system, right? This Bolshevik thing, or whatever, and that backfired, didn't it? Also, it also happened with France, the civil war in France, and then they started hunting for people from the nobility. Yeah, that's just more violence, and so what's the root cause, right? And why haven't we explored this root cause for violence, for crimes, for isn't there something wrong with our society that we aren't looking at, that we haven't been able to address?
Very good, thank you. Who's next? Catherine, please.
Well, I'm gonna answer what you just mentioned before. Yeah, I can compare the rules, the law, who is in Costa Rica versus here in Mexico, because it's kind of similar. Both are bad. As simple as that. But in Costa Rica, where like 50 years ago, or maybe more, an island that used to be a prison. And there's a guy who wrote a book that is called uh, Los Hombres Solos. Is referring to all the really crazy happening injustice that happened in that island, because they mix all together, murder, rapists, and people who get there for child support, and things that are not really that bad, and people who are really crazy. So they kill each other in there. There was no police in my country. There's no army, so only police. But the policemen just put it in there, and kill yourself, survive yourself. It's an island, so the food and everything was very low. You have to like figure out. The punishments were very severe and very strict. So of course, they shut down the place and make the whole investigation, and it was crazy. And my personal opinion, that place should exist. It should be existing right now. It should be using right now. And for all these criminals like uh, pederastas and pedophiles and all those murders, rapers, they should be there. I do not agree with death penalty, but they can kill themselves. I mean, do whatever you want, and if it's a lower mind or something that maybe you can regenerate and not be a trouble in society, you can be in a normal jail and maybe try to do best with your life. But that's something that in my country is not allowed. The human rights is for everybody, no matter how bad person you are. And that's something I do not agree. I don't know if Mexico is the same, but the penalties for people who commit crazy stuff is really low. I mean, nobody spend more than 40 years at jail. They release you because that's too much, and there's no for life, and there's no real punishment, and the victims, they don't get justice ever. So I definitely think they should change, but the rules and the constitution is really old. It's from the 48, and we're in the 23, so almost 100 years, and there's no change in this law. So it's crazy for me. Not everybody is doing something, and we only have to pray and hope that nobody that we love get affected or this crazy person that is around the world doing that.
Very good. Good. This is the name of the book. There is a movie, a Mexican movie, and it's intense.
But I thought that book is from you saw the movie.
Yes, the movie is based on this book.
Oh, I haven't seen that movie, but I make like a resume from that book, and it's just crazy. They have, ¿cómo se dice un burro? Donkey.
Junkie, yes.
They have a donkey because they don't allow to have personal visitors or visitas conyugales. I don't know. So they give them a donkey. Imagine that poor animal. Of course, they kill them, and something. There's thousands of craziness happening in there because the weather is really hot, and they put it inside a hole with pavement. Three, 4 days. If you are alive, you can get out. If you don't go, and we gonna throw your body in some place because we don't care. That was
Yeah,
crazy.
I haven't read the book to be honest, but I know it, and I know some things that happened in that prison. And the thing is that if you were sent there, it's because you were in for life. There is no chance. Especially, I think that this prison was built to lesser criminals like murderers, rapists, and things like that that could not be reintegrated in society, and for political criminals. So that's always a good option to have your political enemies in an island killing themselves. Yeah, it's a very good tool to have. Very good. Thank you. Daniel, recuerden, ya no esperen a que yo les diga. Sigan.
Thank you. I'll go. All right. I try to be short. In this case, Mexican rights were based on the 18th century on military government and martial law. That means that all the punishment were based on maximum penalty by be shoot or be hanged. There were two forms. But at the time that Porfirio Diaz and changed the next century, the 19th century, uh, all about psychology improvements were based about the crime is a mental illness or mental state of illness, indeed, as not a social antisocial behavior as is intended. So that kind of changes about penalties and reclusion and another and all the things around it brought us the fact that most of the justice in Mexico were extrajudicial. For example, when people try to fix their own problems only to giving or offering money to restore all the justice, the state wasn't was agree with it only if a part of the money or a part of the two benefits or could given to them um, as the corrupt way of being. So that regulation changed on the last decades because for the human rights arise and all that policies will change supposed to give all the population all the guilty benefits instead of not guilty benefit or even as named as a guilty after the process all the human protection of his being.
Very good. Thank you. Jesus.
Thank you, teacher. I just want to put some numbers in the table because I'm start to check some information in the web. So this information it's in Mexico. So I need a little bit help. ¿Cómo se dice persona reincidente cuando reinciden y entran otra vez a prisión? ¿Cómo podría expresarlo? Reincident. Okay. Here we have in Mexico the uh, the prisoners in our jails, the 69% going out of the jail, but right now the people have 69%. No, sorry, the 74% of the population in the jails, it's reincidents people. So I think normally that people go out from the jail and they have a sentence or short sentence, and before they have again another criminal way and or make another criminal stuff. I don't know if it's a robber. I don't know, and they have a long sentences, and the 74% of the population in the jails in Mexico, it's a people with the reincidence. So if you see the numbers, we don't have a good rehabilitation system in Mexico. So I think the best way to reduce the population in the jails, I think it's the death penalty. Sounds a little bit wrong for or bad, but I think it's the best way because we have a lot of people in the jail with a lot of reincidents. That this is a bad for the government because this this is not a correct work for the government in the jails.
It's more than obvious that the system doesn't work. If you commit a crime and you go out, a couple months after you are going to be back in most cases. Una palabra que es muy complicada, un poco común, pero sirve a lo que está diciendo Jesús. Recidivism es reincidencia. Recidivism. Very good. Máximo, yes.
Well, I have thought about it in a better way, and I think it's more important to the victim thing about the punishment, about um, the well, the inmate, it's the prison basically, and I think the victim should have the final say on the punishment. Word about that. I think the better decision is what the victim think about that. What is the the best way or the best sentence what the victim thinks it's necessary. It's a better about that because this is not for something. This is not necessarily a generalization. It's more necessary a specific case because the cases are different between one. I think it's another way. And about the recidivism, I think it's a correct way because uh, if you are a bad person, well, if there are not another way, I think the death penalty is the best way in that cases. I specifically, and for simple cases, I think that this is not the best way. I think the best decision is what the victim thinks. That's all.
Very good. Thank you, Maximo. Very good, very good. Herbert, yes.
No- Okay. And this topic is complicated because the situation for each country is different. Let me say example in Guatemala. In Guatemala, the situation is so complicated because in the past, two people were shot for raping a girl. Uh, Imagine the situation now. Uh, in Guatemala, in this moment, for the corruptions, is complicated. This this topic because if a person is a millionaire, the person have a government uh, uh, charge, then don't have punish and they go comes out fast of the jail. This is the situation for all Latin American, because the corruption affect all part of this topic. This is the principal problem for this.
Yeah, I think that that's like the common point here, right? It's not, rehabilitation is not possible. In Latin America, at least. Catherine, yes.
Yeah, actually, I was. I don't know if any of you saw or have seen this show in Netflix called "The Roughest Prison in the World." That is a guy. It's like a series, and there's a guy called I don't remember. Let me search. Rafael Road. He was sentenced in London. I don't know, something in Inglaterra, by a murder, and he was innocent, and it took him 10 years to prove he was innocent. And now he has traveled around the world with the rough prisons around the world, and he get inside and stays like for 3 days, and he recalled. It's crazy what you see in this series because you can see how the corruption between the policemen and uh, with the criminals is everywhere. So they rule the jail. There's the boss that has a big, like a mansion inside the prisons with TVs, women's, everything they want. And there's of course levels where people get murdered every day because they don't have to have what to eat or where to sleep, or it's crazy. And it happened almost in every country. Of course in Latin America it's like for all the prisons. And yes, in Costa Rica too, one episode, and it was shocking for me seeing how uh, the gangs rule that prison, and they say like, "Tell me what you want. I'm gonna bring you drugs, women, cars. I mean everything." They rule the country inside a prison, and it was so obvious, and people, everybody knows, and the police knows it, and it was a TV show. The government saw it, and nothing happened. So that's the reality we live them, and that's why they don't get rehabilitated, because they get into their home to plan more destruction and be more evil. It's almost impossible that person get in with the right intentions to become a good person under that environment. And that is crazy because happen around the world. So I'm really I don't know how the word is, envidio, with the good intention, the people from the Salvador and Nayib Bukele, the decision to restructure all jails and all his government, because I think that's the solution for all of us, honestly.
I think that we can envy the Salvadorian justice or judicial system right now, but they have experienced violence for almost 40 years. So this is only a consequence. It became to a point where nothing else could be done. And the thing is that probably if I ask you in private, not in public, what do you think that should be done with criminals? I'm talking about murderers, rapists, pedophiles. Probably your answer in private could be different than in public. I guess. In some cases, me not. I have it pretty clear because you spent so your whole life working, trying to be a honest citizen, abiding laws, and suddenly this guy, because he doesn't want to work, is going to kill you. He's going to kill someone in your family. He's going to rob you. He's going to take your possessions that probably you had to work hard to get that. Do you agree with him going to prison a couple months and then he or she is going out and is going to take revenge on you because you sent him to prison? That's a Latin American uh, judicial system. Do you think it works? Obviously not, because like Jesus said, they are going back. They are going out from prison and going to commit more crimes because it's so easy to get away. Do you know that only 25% of criminals are caught? 25%. 75 are still free, and no one is going to do anything. You said the police knows about what's happening and they don't care because they are involved in that. You think that drug trafficking is something that they do on their own? No, they have support. Mexico is so poor to buy the drugs that cartels are exporting to the US and other countries. So we can start with that. Yes, Catherine.
Yeah, but sometimes I seem here that is at least in here in Mexico, somebody do something and they put their face on it, and they make you declare that all the people saw who you are, and knows what's up. In Costa Rica, they protect 100% that person who commit the crime. They don't show his face, never know what happened. All his rights are like untouchable. And forget about the population or the people they hurt or whatever it is. Untouchable. Nobody can do nothing. If in the jail there's a alarm, they're gonna hurt him because he, for example, let's say he kill a kid or rape a girl, they send him to a special unit. He's gonna be protect for the rest. I mean, it's just crazy. They really are really concerned from protect criminals and not the population. So at least here in Mexico, I saw that if somebody is robbing or whatever, they show their face and they make a video. What are you doing? What do you do? And you as a citizen know who they are and know what you do, and then they're part of the game or something. They kidnap people and you know who they are. In Costa Rica, we don't, because they protect the image, the body, everything. They protect them. It's actually crazy.
Human rights for the criminals, not for the victims. Jesus, yes.
Yeah, I think we need more human rights for the victims and not for the criminals. That's the first step. But the reality in Mexico, the real power, it's not in the government, it's in the narco and in the criminals. So the narco and the criminals have a lot of money and a lot of influence in the government. So that's the way, or that's the reason the system is not real working, because they move a lot of influences to try to do the bad ways. So I think we need to change that part, but it's so hard because the government don't wanna take out the the criminals and the narco, because the narco is the principal. uh, I don't know how to say it in English. Es el principal ingreso de dinero en México. That's the reason.
Main income. Income es ingreso, main income, ingreso principal. And we're talking about millions of dollars per month, not per year. Yeah, and we are fighting to get a basic salary. It's crazy. Very good. Anyone else? Someone wants to close the topic for today? Nicole, Marco, Alexander, ¿es que hablaron? Something else? No? No, Nicole? Okay. Very good. This is an interesting topic, but surprisingly, most of you agreed on the same points. So there was not that big of a controversy as I would like. Yes, I know, Catherine, I know. Yes, yes.
Dice, es que tenía, lo voy a decir en español para que tu opinión. Tenía otro tema que estaba muy relacionado al primer tema que hablamos acerca del espacio y del verdad, si creen realmente que hay los planetas y qué piensan que hay en el espacio, ¿verdad? Entonces, vi que algunos compañeros como que se asustaron un poco cuando empezamos a hablar como de aliens y todo, entonces yo preferí no volver a tocar el tema, pero sí es interesante y considero que ahí sí podríamos tener pues más controversia, si eso es lo que está buscando, ¿verdad? Porque no sé y si alguno está de acuerdo o si quisieran buscar, hay un libro que se llama el libro de Enoch, no está incluido en la Biblia, pero considero que debería y habla específicamente de cómo está allá arriba, ¿verdad? Y está muy alejada de la realidad que nos han pintado y entonces sería como divertido realmente pensar, bueno, yo sé que nos han inculcado desde que nacimos es el sistema solar y las estrellitas y está Marte, pero ¿qué realmente nosotros pensamos que hay allá afuera? ¿Por qué no nos dejan cruzar de la Antártida para allá? ¿Por qué a este nivel de tecnología vemos a Marte como si fuera un desierto y todo bla, cuando estamos con un nivel de tecnología wow? Son muchas cosas que a mí personalmente me da mucha, como que no me calzan muchas cosas y me las cuestiono. Claramente no tengo la respuesta de nada. En Costa Rica decimos, no tengo dudas, pero no tengo pruebas tampoco. Entonces, este es uno de los temas que pensé en poner esta semana, pero consideré que algunos que si la Tierra es plana, realmente no sé. Y tampoco es importante. Lo importante es que hay más arriba. Pero consideré que algunos compañeros se podían sentir como un poco asustados por lo de que hablamos de los aliens. Y si a alguno le interesa, pues leer o investigar un poco de ese libro es súper, súper interesante. Entonces, es una opción si en algún momento quisieran hablar y considero que se podría traer mucho más controversia.
De hecho, la controversia no es solo porque me guste ver el mundo arder, sino también porque con esos temas la mayoría participa. Entonces, eso podría ser, que no se te olvide para el jueves. Igual ya saben si tienen alguna sugerencia. Quiero que participen más. Igual se quedaron 4 o 5, que son los que hablan más. Quiero escuchar a los demás, ¿va? Aunque sea con ideas breves, ya lo saben. Bien, si no hay ninguna duda, nos vemos el jueves. Que tengan excelente noche. Que estén muy bien. Bye.
Sorry, I have a question. Sorry.
Dime.
You have a minute, please. You can solve the question referring to the Duolingo access.
No, eso chécalo con tu coach.
Oh,
O sea, si no te está dejando entrar y estás usando tu correo institucional y la contraseña que está en Classroom y no te deja entrar todavía, tienes que checarlo con tu coach.
Sí, realmente no es tanto como no me deja entrar, sino que la interfase. Porque al descargar la aplicación de Duolingo, la interfase únicamente deja ingresar correos normales de Google. Entonces, cuando utilizo el correo institucional, dice que no existe.
De hecho, todos los que estoy revisando están con ese correo, con el institucional.
Sí. Entonces, cuando trato de ingresar el acceso del correo institucional agregarlo a mis cuentas en mi teléfono Android, incluso me da error, porque automáticamente me hace el login con mi correo personal. Me dice, no, este es el correo personal. Me dice, no puedes accesar a este. O no se puede conectar. Sí.
Ya, pero eso está raro, porque sí, te digo, todos los que estoy revisando entraron con correo institucional. Entonces, sí, a lo mejor hay algo que no está bien ahí.
En mi PC sí ingreso con mi correo institucional y todo, lo tengo todo habilitado. Pero a la hora de ingresar al Duolingo en mi smartphone es el problema.
Ya, sí, puede ser cuestión del teléfono. Intenta crear tu cuenta desde el navegador de Google primero y luego inicias
Eso,
una. Es lo que estás haciendo,
eso
¿no?
no lo he intentado, me parece.
Puede ser. Puede
Bueno,
ser que te sirva.
entonces
Sí.
voy a tratar de comunicarme a otro lado.
No, sí, inténtalo así, como dice Abraham, y si no puedes, dime, igual para que yo lo reporte.
Muy bien, perfecto. Muchas gracias a todos.
Nada.
Have a good night. Thank you.
Muy bien, excelente, gracias. Diana.
Yes. No, teacher, solo tengo una consulta. O sea, es que no entiendo. Hay a veces en el Duolingo que sale la pregunta, ¿los peces beben agua? Entonces, yo asumo que si pongo fishes, me refiero a peces. Pero cuando pongo fishes, me pone que está mal.
Y si pones
Entonces,
fish,
no sé por qué.
eso debe ser una de las trampas de Duolingo. Lo que pasa es que cuando los peces están en el agua y quieren usar un plural, es fish, no fishes. Entonces intenta con fish. Probablemente esa sea la
O sea,
respuesta
sí,
correcta.
cuando pongo fish está bien, pero pensé que si es que pongo fishes me estoy refiriendo a plural, pero me sale que no.
Esa es una de las gracias del inglés, te la explico rapidísimo. Más o menos ya te dije, cuando hay muchos peces en el mar, tú vas a decir the fish, los peces, en plural o singular. Depende, eso ya es contextual. The fish is in the bucket. El pescado el pez está en la cubeta. Fishes in the sea suena mal. Es the fish are in the sea. Vas a decir fishes cuando estén en una pecera o en la pescadería.
O sea, como que en algo pequeño, algo así.
Ajá. Cuando están fuera del mar o del agua, en general, de un cuerpo de agua natural, vamos a ponerlo así.
Ya. Ok, eso es todo, teacher.
No, de nada. Claudia.
Teacher, what is the topic for Thursday?
Todavía no se decide. Catherine propuso algo muy interesante. ¿Puedes repetir el tema, Catherine, para que les quede? Si deciden que ese se quede por el jueves, ¿no? Si no lo podemos cambiar.
Propuse hablar sobre lo que cada quien considera que hay en el espacio. Si usted cree al 100% lo que nos han enseñado de niños, si existe el planeta solar y las estrellas y cómo está conformado, o cuál es su opinión acerca de lo que considera que podría haber y por qué hay tanta restricción y limitación en en poder movilizarnos, en poder enseñarnos fotos, en poder ver muchas de las cosas que hemos visto a este nivel de tecnología que tenemos, ¿verdad? Que nos mandan una foto que pareciera un desierto y es Marte y para mí eso no tiene muchas congruencias y propuse los que quisieran tener un poco más de opciones a nivel de información, que hay un libro que se llama el libro de Enoch, que no está incluido en la Biblia, pero fue parte de esa época de Abraham y ellos, y entonces Dios lo llevó al cielo y le enseñó cómo eran los diferentes cielos, y él explica las etapas y el éter y cómo son los ángeles, y no son los ángeles que nos vemos de carita de bebé con sus alitas, sino que son muy, muy, muy distintos. Y hay toda una historia que uno se queda con los ojos como que está hablando, ¿verdad? Obviamente la Iglesia Católica no quiso incluirlo en la Biblia y muchas otras religiones tampoco, muy pocas lo tienen. Entonces, es una de las tantas teorías de que realmente podría haber allá arriba y es una de los temas que propuse como más controversiales. Nadie tiene la razón, nadie sabe realmente qué hay, sino es nada más dar su opinión.
Okay, thank you.
Muy bien, entonces lo dejamos como tentativo. Si se les ocurre otro, ya saben, lo pueden proponer el jueves. Ahora sí, que tengan excelente noche, cuídense mucho. Nos vemos. Bye.
Bye.